Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of today. I'm your host, Shariefa Mohammed MGT.
I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer.
Russian forces continued six-axis offensive operations with two territorial gains. The North Group captured Granov in the Kharkiv region, and the East Group liberated Vozdvizhevka in the Zaporozhye region. Claimed Ukrainian losses exceeded 1,220 troops across all sectors, with the Center Group reporting the highest attrition, 340+. Aviation and artillery struck 144 infrastructure targets, including a defense industry enterprise, power facilities, long-range UAV storage/launch areas, and fuel depots. Air defense claimed interception of 3 Storm Shadow cruise missiles, 5 guided bombs, and 285 UAVs.
Welcome to Frontline Updates, the podcast that brings you in-depth insights into military operations from those leading them on the ground. Today, we're joined by Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer monitoring critical missions on the progress of the special military operation as of today. Colonel Oguntoye, thank you for being with us.
Thank you, it's good to be here.
Colonel Oguntoye, the May 27th briefing reports that the North Group took control over Granov in the Kharkov region. This is the second settlement capture in Kharkiv within a week, after Shesterovka on May 21st. What does this tell you about Russian momentum on this axis?
The capture of Granov is significant not because of the size of the settlement, it is likely a small village, but because of the pattern. When we saw Shesterovka captured on May 21st, it was a single event. Now, 6 days later, we have Granov. That suggests that the North Group has shifted from occasional raiding to a sustained local offensive. Operationally, capturing Granov may allow Russian forces to threaten the Ukrainian supply lines running from Kharkiv city eastward toward the Donbass. The strikes in Sumy region against 3 mechanized brigades and an airmobile brigade are also telling. The North Group is using its firepower to fix Ukrainian reserves in Sumy, while its infantry advances in Kharkiv. That is a classic supporting effort. One sector attacks to prevent redeployment, another sector exploits. The reported destruction of one U.S.-made M101 howitzer and an electronic warfare station in the north also fits the pattern, degrading Ukrainian fire support.
The briefing mentions resolute actions leading to the capture of Granov. That language is stronger than the usual, improved the tactical situation. Does that imply a deliberate assault with significant Russian commitment?
Yes. Resolute action suggests a planned, deliberate assault, probably at least a reinforced battalion, possibly with armored support. This is not a patrol stumbling into an undefended village. It means Russian commanders committed reserves, accepted a certain level of casualties, and conducted a combined arms assault. The fact that the reported Ukrainian losses in the north sector are only 165 troops, modest compared to the center sector, indicates that the defense around Granov may have been thin, or that Russian artillery suppressed it before the infantry moved in. Either way, it shows that Russian forces are willing to invest in territorial gains on this axis, not just fix Ukrainian troops.
Let's move to the West Group. They took more advantageous lines, and for the first time, we see UK-made Snatch and Novator armored fighting vehicles destroyed. They also hit 2 Marine brigades and 2 assault brigades. What does this tell you about the composition of Ukrainian forces in this sector?
The presence of UK-made vehicles, Snatch and Novator, is a reminder that Ukraine's armored fleet is now a patchwork of Western donations. The Snatch is a lightly armored patrol vehicle, not designed for frontline combat. Its destruction near Krasny Lyman suggests that Ukraine is using even its less protected assets to shuttle troops or conduct reconnaissance in contested areas. The Novator is also a specialized vehicle. Operationally, the West Group is facing a diverse but vulnerable Ukrainian order of battle. Marine brigades, elite infantry, alongside territorial defense, lighter units, and assault brigades. Offensive formations. The 190 claimed Ukrainian losses and 19 motor vehicles destroyed indicate that the West Group is focusing on logistics and troop attrition rather than dramatic territorial gains. The destruction of a U.S.-made M114 howitzer A 155mm towed gun is another data point in the ongoing counter-battery campaign.
We have seen UK-made vehicles before. I recall the earlier briefing mentioned UK-made Storm Shadow missiles, but not ground vehicles.
You are correct. Storm Shadows are air-launched cruise missiles. The Snatch and Novator are the first UK-origin ground vehicles explicitly named in these daily reports. Their appearance suggests that Ukraine is fielding a wider variety of Western equipment, but also that Russian reconnaissance is good enough to identify and target them. For a commander, this is a reminder that no vehicle is safe if it operates within Russian sensor range.
The South Group reported destroying 2 tanks, including 1 German-made Leopard, plus a Stryker APC, a Grad MLRS, and 18 motor vehicles. Ukrainian losses, 180 troops. This seems like a very equipment-heavy day for the South Group. What does that indicate about the nature of fighting near Kramatorsk?
The South Group operates in the urban arc of Donetsk, Kramatorsk, Konstantinovka. These are built-up areas where Russia has historically avoided costly frontal assaults. Instead, they are using precision strikes, drones, artillery, possibly loitering munitions, to hunt Ukrainian heavy equipment. A Leopard tank is a high-value target. Destroying one is a psychological victory as much as a tactical one. The Stryker APC, wheeled, fast, is used to move troops between defensive positions. Losing both a Leopard and a Stryker in one day suggests that Russian forces have excellent intelligence on Ukrainian vehicle movements. The Grad MLRS is also a priority target because of its area denial capability. The relatively low troop loss number, 180, compared to equipment losses confirms that this was not a mass infantry assault. It was a hunting campaign against Ukrainian armored reserves. That is efficient. Destroy the enemy's ability to move and shoot without losing your own infantry.
The briefing also mentions a mountain assault brigade in the south sector. Why would mountain troops be fighting in an urban area?
Mountain assault brigades are light infantry with high morale and specialized training for rough terrain. However, they are also used as elite general-purpose reserves when no mountains are available. Their presence near Kramatorsk indicates that Ukraine is rotating its best units into the Donetsk urban arc, possibly to stabilize a front that has been under constant pressure. But it also means those mountain troops are not available for offensive operations elsewhere. Russia benefits from fixing elite Ukrainian units in a defensive role.
The Center Group again reported the highest Ukrainian losses, over 340 troops, along with 1 electronic warfare station destroyed. They engaged an airborne brigade, a special forces brigade, and 2 National Guard brigades. That is a collection of Ukraine's most capable units. What does this tell you about the intensity of fighting in this sector?
The Center Group operates along the Donetsk-Dnipropetrovsk border. The engagement of an airborne brigade and a special forces brigade, both elite, both heavily motivated, tells me that this is where Ukraine is committing its best remaining reserves. When you see airborne troops in a static defensive role, it is a sign of desperation. They were designed for offensive maneuver, but they are being used to plug a crumbling line. The 340 claimed losses in one day is the highest of any sector, even allowing for Russian inflation. The real number is likely still significant, probably over 100 actual killed and wounded. That rate of attrition against elite units is not sustainable. The destruction of an electronic warfare station in this sector will further degrade Ukrainian coordination. Operationally, the Center Group appears to be the main Russian effort. They are absorbing Ukrainian reserves and bleeding them at a high rate, while the East Group exploits territorial gains.
The briefing mentions Novopavlovka in Dnipropetrovsk region. That is further west than previous Center Group strikes. Is the Center Group advancing westward?
Inflicted losses near Novopavlovka does not mean Russian ground troops have reached it. But the fact that artillery and drone strikes are reaching that deep suggests that Ukrainian forward defenses have been suppressed, allowing Russian fires to engage rear areas. That is a necessary condition for a ground advance. I would not call it a breakthrough, but it is a creeping extension of Russian fire control deeper into Dnipropetrovsk. If that trend continues, Russian ground forces may attempt to advance toward Novopavlovka in the coming weeks.
The East Group reports the liberation of Vozdvizhevka in Zaporozhye region, the second territorial gain of the day. They also claim to have hit 3 air assault brigades and 4 assault regiments. What is the significance of Vozdvizhevka, and why is the East Group able to capture settlements while others are still grinding?
Vozdvizhevka is a settlement in Zaporozhye region, not far from the previous East Group gains like Dobropasovo. Its liberation tells me that the East Group has achieved a tactical penetration that is now yielding territorial results. The phrase "continue to advance into the depths of enemy defense" is used again. This is the same language we saw before Dobropasovo. It indicates that Russian forces are operating behind the Ukrainian forward line of troops, engaging second echelon units like air assault brigades and assault regiments. Those units are typically held back as reserves. If they are being drawn into the fight and suffering losses, 285 claimed, then Ukrainian defensive depth is shrinking. Operationally, the East Group is probably the supporting main effort. They are exploiting the pressure created by the Center Group to take ground. The fact that they captured a settlement while also inflicting 285 losses suggests a high tempo of combined arms operations.
The briefing mentions strikes near Pokrovskoye and Gavrilovka in Dnipropetrovsk. That is north of Vozdvizhevka. Is the East Group trying to link up with the Center Group?
That is an astute observation. The Center Group is operating near Novopavlovka. The East Group is near Gavrilovka and Pokrovskoye. These are not far apart geographically. If both groups continue to advance, they could create a pincer movement that threatens Ukrainian forces in the Donetsk-Zaporizhzhia seam. However, that would require a coordinated push that we have not yet seen. Right now, they are operating independently, but their axes are converging. It is something to watch.
Now, the DNEPR Group, they reported only 60 Ukrainian troops lost, but 5 electronic warfare stations destroyed. That is a staggering number. How is that possible, and what does it mean for the battlefield?
This is perhaps the most significant tactical development in the entire briefing. 5 electronic warfare stations in one day is a record. I have not seen that number in any previous Russian daily report. EW stations are mobile, but not invulnerable. The DNEPR Group likely used a combination of drone reconnaissance to locate them, then precision strikes, possibly loitering munitions or artillery, to destroy them. Achieving 5 kills in a single day suggests that Russian intelligence has mapped Ukrainian EW positions in the Zaporozhye sector with high accuracy. The operational implication is enormous. EW stations are used to jam Russian drones and communications. Removing 5 of them creates a temporary window of electronic superiority for Russian forces. That means Russian drones can fly deeper, identify more targets, and guide artillery more accurately.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for the opportunity. The ideal Russian operation is one where they destroy high-value Ukrainian enablers, EW, artillery, command posts, while suffering minimal own casualties. The DNEPR Group's performance on May 27th is a textbook example of precision attrition. Small, well-trained teams, possibly special operations or drone units, locate targets, then strike them with standoff weapons. The enemy loses critical capabilities, but there is no costly infantry assault. If Russia can replicate this across other sectors, they can degrade Ukraine's defensive capacity without the heavy losses that have characterized previous offensives.
This has been Frontline Updates. Subscribe for daily military briefings and in-depth strategic analysis. Visit our platform for maps, transcripts, and exclusive frontline updates from commanders in theater.